I'm very pleased to welcome Aiden Flynn, founder and CEO of Exploristics today. Good morning, Aiden.
Morning, Jacqui.
We have some exciting news to share with you. We are entering a partnership where we will work together in developing path-to-market strategies and optimizing probabilities of clinical success for the biopharmaceutical industry. And today I will be asking Aiden 5 key questions about his solution and how he sees this will be adding value to the biopharmaceutical industry. So I would like to start off with the first question. Can you elaborate on how Exploristics analytical services and software like Caris Cloud are shaping the future of clinical trial design and how this also might transform the biopharma landscape?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Jacqui. Great question. I've been working in statistics in clinical trials for around 30 years, and over that time, I have observed some behaviors which I think go a long way to explaining why so many drug development programs fail. And what I wanted to do with Exploristics is really to place statistics and data science at the heart of decision making within clinical development. And the way Caris Cloud works is, you use whatever data you have access to build virtual patient populations. And then you use those patient populations to evaluate the performance of different clinical trial design options, different analysis strategies, different definitions of success, so that you really set the clinical trial up for success and avoid the avoidable mistakes.
That's great that you've taken that insight and all of these learnings from your own experiences into this solution. And I think it's very much aligned also with IDEA Pharma's philosophy, of course, about creating optionality so that you have and also improving, you could say, the data points to have better decision quality in the end. So great to hear. Other question. And obviously, lots of media updates regarding all the developments on pharmaceutical R&D and different solutions that are being integrated in the drug development process. So it's undergoing really rapid changes in terms of bringing these technological advances to fruition. So in what way does Exploristics' approach to smart analytics and simulation directly addresses this challenge in terms of optimizing clinical trial design and making better decisions?
Yeah, sure. So I think one of the key problems within pharma and biotech is we don't invest enough time or money into the design process. We're too quick to go ahead and start studies, or we're too quick to go ahead and maybe try some of the technologies or whatever without really being informed as to the impact of the decisions that we're making. And I see simulation as being a kind of a core part of that decision-making process whereby we are making much more informed decisions. And let me give you an example which really helps to describe where Caris Cloud came from. It actually came from the precision medicine space at a time when the industry was starting to collect blood samples in all of its clinical trials with a view to using those samples to try and identify subgroups of patients. And the common strategy at the time was, let's collect and hold the samples, and if this study fails in its all-comer population, we can do a retrospective analysis. And most statisticians will tell you that the chances of success in such a retrospective analysis is pretty low, if not close to zero. And I felt, we as statisticians should have a much more strategic role to play in that overall company strategy, and we could inform how best to apply that strategy. Otherwise, we're wasting a lot of time and money on some new initiative that had very little chance of success. And I think that can be applied to any new technology that is being proposed as a solution to pharma's problems.
Great example, Aiden, and I think also your earlier point regarding decisions are made too fast, and I think also quite often too late. And if we start thinking about more of what designs are possible earlier on, then there's also time to kind of validate some of those assumptions and make better decisions in the end.
When you think about when it comes to statistics, and a very common scenario, Jacqui, is a project team is developing a protocol, and they complete all sections of the protocol until they get to the bit that talks about sample size and statistics, and then they say, oh, now we need a statistician. And
yes.
And then you have this sometimes strange conversation, which goes along the lines of, can you fill out this sample size section?
Yes.
And by the way, we have enough money to run a study on 100 patients or whatever. So your job is somehow to justify how we arrived at that number. That's an extreme case,
yes.
But it does happen. And the truth is, any statistician can go out to the literature and find a paper which they can use to justify virtually any study design. That's not setting the study up for success.
No, and that's also not setting the asset up for success and addressing unmet medical needs. And I think this ties nicely into my next question, because I think one thing is indeed, as you're illustrating, it might be more of a tick box exercise based on timings when companies start thinking about trial designs and the assumptions. But ultimately, it's also about thinking, what is the unmet need and what is really the commercial opportunity in the market, and how do we bring that back into clinical development? So if you then think about our partnership, which aims to enhance biopharma capabilities, how do you envision this partnership will really make a difference to path to market strategies?
Yeah, again, a great question. We've been aware of each other for some time, and we've been talking together for a while, and it's very clear there is alignment in terms of our approach to solving some of pharma's problems, from taking a very data-driven, quantitative approach to move some of the conversations away from the hypothetical, so that we can make much more informed decisions. We're very aligned in the need for having tools to do that, having access to data to do that, to building a framework and a structure around decision making, which actually brings together the views of multiple stakeholders, whether they be commercial or statistics or regulatory or operational. So we really try and capture all of those so that we are not operating in silos. And again, I think that's one of the big problems with pharma. So I think bringing some of our capabilities into what IDEA Pharma has, whereby we can, rather than looking backwards and thinking, well, what happens in terms of probability of success historically in phase 2, we can more look forward, thinking, well, what if we design this study or that study, what is the likelihood of success going forward? That's a really exciting kind of concept.
No, and I think to your point that you could say great molecules with a traditional process is fine, but great molecules with more kind of innovative processes and thinking and really that cross-functional expertise brought into it do far greater than otherwise. So as you mentioned, the integration of data-driven decision-making is crucial also in the pharmaceutical industry, and also something that we recognize is really kind of paramount for our clients. Could you provide an example where Exploristic Services has significantly improved the probability of success of a clinical trial?
Yeah, sure. So there are various ways it can work, Jackie. You improve the probability of success, or for the same probability of success, you can make certain changes to the study, and you can actually generate the evidence that you need in a much more efficient way by running smaller studies or quicker studies or whatever. So it can work in multiple ways. In terms of probability of success, I mean, a simple one is we've been able to show a lot of companies that we worked with, when they have come to us with a proposed clinical trial design, we've shown them that the likelihood of success for the design is so small that they just shouldn't do it. So I would argue, we've prevented a lot of studies that would have failed, and we've avoided those mistakes. I'll give you a nice example where we can bring in multiple different aspects. So we worked with a client working in RSV. They were trying to do a study in infants. The primary endpoint was based on viral load. But the way you summarize viral load data, there's a lot of different ways to do that. Do you take an area under the curve, or a change from baseline, or a slope, or whatever? And the other bit of this case study was around how you collect the data. One approach was a nasal strip, which is just dipped into the nose. What's good about that is you can get as much data as you like. The other is a much more invasive approach, which is a tube down into the lungs. Yeah. Babies don't like that. Their parents like it even less. So the idea is you might get a small amount of data, albeit it might be better quality. But using simulation, we were able to show them that by far the most efficient approach was a nasal strip dipped into the nose. We were able to show the time period, or the time window over which the viral load data should be sampled. And then we were able to show what's the best way to summarize that viral load data and turn that summary into, success criteria. And the upshot was, their original plan was to run the study in the northern hemisphere in the winter season, then move to the southern hemisphere, and basically go back and forth until they got the required number of patients. But with our efficient design, they were able to complete the entire thing in one season in the northern hemisphere, and that was maintaining the same probability of success. So there's a nice example where you keep the probability of success, but you really change other aspects, other operational aspects. You're answering the clinical question, the time to market, and then you're bringing in the patient burden dimension as well. So you're addressing all of those.
Really great example, and I think it illustrates the value of indeed kind of the simulation and thinking differently about clinical trial design. And what I also hear is that investing in this will allow pharma to spend their R&D dollars or pounds more efficiently and more effectively. Yeah. Okay, so one final question, Aiden, is kind of looking forward towards the future. What are you most excited about our potential, or about our partnership, and what should the industry expect of it as a result?
Yeah, again, great question. Most people that I know who've come into this industry are really passionate about the idea of bringing new treatments to patients, and I'm not particularly passionate about developing tools for the sake of developing tools. I want them to have a real world application where they make a difference. And what we now know, having done a lot of simulation studies, we're really able to reduce the uncertainty around studies where there is the most uncertainty, and that really is phase two and proof of concept studies. You know, where the risk of failure is the highest when you look right across the development pathway, and we're able to show that we're actually able to double the chance of success in those mid-stage trials. When you start to apply that across at a portfolio level and within a pathway, that has a massive impact, you know. So pharma companies will be able to do much more with the money they have to invest in R&D. They'll be able to bring more treatments through. The cost per treatment, you know, to launch is going to be vastly reduced, and that's going to have a knock-on impact in the real world. Not only will there be more new treatments, but also hopefully the cost of those treatments reduces as well, and the overall healthcare burden. You know, that's what I'm really passionate about, and what we're focusing on are those individual studies. Now, by working together with IDEA and applying that study design sort of philosophy to what you have, looking across an entire pathway, I mean, I think the opportunity is enormous, and I'm hopeful we're going to have a dramatic impact on the industry. And I'm also excited by, you know, the fact that we work a lot with very small biotech who are kind of very lean in terms of the teams and the skills that they have access to. I think working together, we can bring a level of expertise and skills and capabilities to those biotech partners that they probably wouldn't usually have access to. And when you think about it, those small biotech is really the drivers of the industry and the innovation, you know.
Yeah, in terms of the innovation and also how they then partner with large pharma. Yes, no, definitely, it's a very important aspect of the partnership, is being able to service all of those biotechs who are looking to bring novel medicines to market.
Yeah, and great. You know, if they make the wrong decisions in those early studies, you know, that's hard to reverse out of it.
They're cash constrained, so indeed they need to be making really smart decisions about the trial design and where to invest. So thank you, Aiden. This has been really enlightening. Just as a final question, if people want to find out more about you and about Exploristics, where can we send them?
Take a look at our website, www.exploristics.com. We've got a lot of very good information on there, and there's a contact us page as well.
Great, thank you. Then great, we'll look forward to expanding on the partnership and successful case studies as we move forward in this year. Thank you for now.
Thanks, Jacqui.